Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I've been on an extended break, and I'm happy to be back with new episodes. Before we meet today's guest, I wanted to let you know about a new feature on the Talaterra website. It's a community calendar that's a new hub for environmentally minded professionals, regardless of their specialty. If environmental awareness is core to what you do or are interested in, visit the calendar to see what's new. The new calendar of events does two things. First, it introduces you to what others are doing. And second, it serves as a way to introduce yourself to new audiences. Now you might be wondering, how can this be if it's Talaterra's calendar of events? Well, it isn't just my calendar, it's our calendar. It's our calendar because you can post your events just as easily as I can post mine. Do you lead learning opportunities or conversations about environmental or related topics? If so, consider adding your events to the community calendar. You'll find step-by-step instructions in the show notes. You maintain all control over your event. By adding it to the community calendar, you are placing your workshop, book club, or whatever it may be, alongside the events of other environmental leaders. Okay, let's meet today's guest. Today, my guest is Janice Kelley. Janice is the founder and program director for Nature Detectives, where children in kindergarten through third grade discover the mysteries of the outdoor world, on their school campus, at home, at a park, and in their neighborhood. Nature Detectives began as an after-school enrichment program, and over time became an at-home program. And this is the reason for our conversation today. Janice has been a guest on the podcast before. She was one of my first guests. Janice is also an author of several publications, and when she was here before, we spoke about her book, Mornings on Fair Oaks Bridge, Watching Wildlife at the Lower American River. Today, we're talking about a book she wrote for parents, grandparents, and family friends called Nature Detectives at Home. Let's join the conversation. Janice, thank you for introducing us to your new book today.
Well, thank you for offering me the opportunity to chat about this new book.
I have here the first edition of Nature Detectives at Home. And so I thought we'd start by talking about why you wrote this book. What made you want to make this an at-home program?
I created this Nature Detectives at Home actually because I wanted to give the opportunity for parents, grandparents, caregivers, friends, so that they could engage in these really fun activities at home instead of going, oh, well, there's no Nature Detectives program at my school. I don't have any access to this. These are the ways that we can explore nature together at home. So it is a sampling of our Nature Detectives activities, in addition to describing the real value of nature, the nature connection to children, and as well as resources that parents can access to learn even more about nature activities, books that they can look to. So it is a sampling of our weekly or our seasonal themed activities, fall, winter, and spring. And it describes the whole process of nature journaling, our nature discovery journaling for Nature Detectives. So that gives them samples. So this book is not just something to read. It is text describing activities. It is photos of the activities. So it really gets you to understand how to do it by yourself. And it's a lot of fun. And for the parents, they really do enjoy discovering the mysteries of the outdoor world with their children. And some parents don't really know how to interact with nature with their kids. And this is a good starting point. It's very simple, it's inexpensive, and it's fun.
Yes, it is. It's a great introduction. By my count, your book features 11 ideas for parents, grandparents, and friends. And it also includes some recommended reading, some of your favorite books you've included in here. There are picture books about animals and art. There's books about the natural world, and there are some activity books in here as well.
Yeah, there's a page on 10 ways to engage your child in the outdoor world that are just general ways to do it. They don't have to be nature detective activities. They're just ways to be more observant. Use your senses. What do you smell? What do you see? What do you feel on your skin? What do you hear? Because that's when we become more observant about nature. And that's when we really notice things that we hadn't noticed before, that we might have walked by every day. And then suddenly we are smelling the flower. We're looking at its petals. We're looking at the texture of the tree. We're looking at the leaves and how they're shaped and how they're different from a different tree. And that's when we start noticing that now the natural world is really miraculous, and it engages kids to be curious and use their imagination. And when they see a bird in a tree, like, whoa, that's amazing. I saw a bird. Or they will watch the lizard crawl up the bark. And those things are magical moments for children when they get to see that. And that's really what we're about, is building their observation skills, their naturalist skills, problem solving, risk taking. And when they're working with their friends, then it's team building. And they don't even know they're building those skills. They're just having fun. And then they realize, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Wow. So they enjoy it. And their journals are extraordinarily important to them. They write, they draw, they measure, they record. And that's a very important part of what we do, is recording. And that's part of what Nature Detectives at Home provides, is the advice and photos on creating journals.
Mm-hmm. And then also throughout the book, you direct readers to your website for different resources. Can you share one thing that readers of your book can find on your website?
Well, one of the blogs, there's a whole series of blogs. And one of my blogs is on Leonardo da Vinci and creativity, on his perspective on creativity. So it's like, be creative like Da Vinci. And so that's so important because we want to continue to engage their natural born creative spirit, their talent, and that just feeds on itself. So that's one thing. And then there are other blogs that are about the direct benefit of children and recreation and health.
Also, there's more fun in your book. You provide a passport and then also a certificate. So could you tell us about the passport and the certificate, how you've set those up?
Well, the passport is when the child completes an activity, the parent or provider can put the initial or a stamp or something in that circle. And then when they fill up the passport, well, that can give the parent an incentive to say, hey, let's go out for ice cream or whatever that child might want to do. And the certificate is when they complete the whole book And it's like, okay, you are now completed your Nature Detectives at Home. And each Nature Detectives at Home book has an ID card. So once they have the book, they have their Nature Detectives ID card that they can carry around. So they can feel like this is a part of them. It's not just a book that they got off the shelf. This is something that's very interactive that they can own.
It definitely supports and speaks to the identity, help develop identity as a naturalist. Yeah, and a detective in your case, yes.
I have a handout in the book of naturalist skills that parents can check off as they do activities, so they can really see the progress that their child or children are making. And they go, yes, we did observe today. Yes, we did measure today. Yes, we did smell the flower today. We did do identifying objects. And so there are checkoffs that they can do so they can really measure what they have accomplished using all of these activities.
So I'm looking at that list right now, and there are 23 stated, and then a room for for many more skills that can be filled in.
When it comes to discovering the mysteries of the outdoor world, it's really unlimited. It depends on the child's interest, how much time they have, where they gravitate to. If they want to discover the forest, if they want to discover the rivers, if they're more interested in wildlife or flowers, or there's so many opportunities for them to go. And the most important part is that they have a caring adult to support them. Because without a caring adult, they can enjoy it, but they can only get so far. They need to have that caring adult to kind of to help them take them places, or just engage them with questions. Well, what do you think about this? How does that feel on your hand? Why do you think that flower is yellow and this one is orange and they're the same plant? I mean, questions to help them begin to think critically. So having a caring adult is really important, and on a regular basis, not just for a week, but regularly throughout the season. Since the seasons change, we've got fall color, we have winter, I call it winter wisdom, where we're doing deep listening and we're really thinking about the changes in the winter and what it sounds like. And then there's the spring, where everything comes to life, and I call it nature in motion, where the birds are in the air, the butterflies are doing their pollination, and there's wind, and there's so many things happening that every season has something really special to learn about, to observe, to enjoy. And so it's not a one-time thing. It's not like you do the book and you put it away. This is a practice. Nature Detectives is really a practice of being outdoors and building on it as they grow and becoming part of them.
And you make it easy for adults to fill that role as caring adult, even if they themselves are unfamiliar or uncomfortable with the outdoors, with the natural world. You, in addition to the resources and the ideas that you have here, you've also listed some online options for citizen science projects, some apps, resources that adults and children can use to look things up.
The iNaturalist app or the Seek app, those are fabulous for learning together with your child. The Seek app is really good for young children because it has games on it. It's not like it's identifying, but it has games. And the citizen science projects are fun. We've done Lost Ladybug, where they look for ladybugs in the spring. And that's a wonderful time to engage with your child, to be looking at plants in your garden or at the park. And it's so easy, and it makes it fun. The Seek app is easy for children to use, and it makes it fun to explore and find out what is that creature, what is that plant, so that they can identify what they're looking at. iNaturalist is a great app. However, for young children, it's way too confusing. It's not as suitable for young children. And then citizen science, we've done Lost Ladybug project, or we've gone to the park, different parks over a period of time, or one park, and looked at plants for ladybugs. And I was surprised. There are many different species of ladybugs, and the children look for them all, and they're so excited to find them, and then they go back and draw them. And really, the Lost Ladybug Project is a true website and a true citizen science project tracking ladybugs all over the world. So this is something that they really get excited about. And there are many other citizen science websites and projects that people can do. I mean, the Christmas bird count is another one with the Audubon Society. There are many ways to engage so easily with children. Just walk outside, look at a tree. I mean, and if you're in the area where you can see fall color, like in Sacramento, all you got to do is walk out the door and you'll see beautiful bronze, orange, red leaves everywhere, different textures, different shapes. It's beautiful.
Yes. The ideas in your book aren't just one-off activities. All the ideas in your book open the door to a more immersive, more regular experience with adults and with friends. And then the apps that you just talked about and the citizen science projects you just spoke about, those websites support that longer term immersion in that topic as well. And so Nature Detectives at Home is a really nice introduction, a step into that world.
Yes, and I am not all about make and take art projects where it's unrelated to anything else. Everything in Nature Detectives at Home has a relationship to something that's bigger. They do art, but it's related to how does that relate to the tree that you're observing or the butterfly that you're observing? It's not just let's make this cute art project and go home. It really is about the practice of learning about the natural world.
Thank you, Janice, for being on the show again and for introducing us to your book. Where can people buy Nature Detectives at Home?
At the moment, it is on Amazon.com. They can also purchase it from my website, naturedetectivesusa.com. The difference is that the one on Amazon is a perfect bound book, and the one that the book that I sell through my website is spiral bound, and it's hardcover.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you again, Janice, so much, and for this work and for the work you continue to do through Nature Detectives. You always have children and families in mind, and all the different generations in a family in mind, and serving them. And so thank you for that focus and your dedication.
Well, thank you so much, Tania. I really appreciate your invitation and the opportunity to share this really important work for children. This age group is sometimes overlooked, and whereas older age groups have more involvement academically, and I think K through 3 is a tremendous opportunity to begin early and engage their curiosity. It's a good opportunity.
Thank you for joining us today. To learn more about Nature Detectives at Home, visit the links in the show notes. And while you're there, be sure to check out the community calendar. And don't be afraid to add yourself to the calendar. If you have any questions, just reach out. We'll chat. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.